off your boots, lean and let's talk. Real world wisdom for your everyday walk. This is PWC Truth Talk. Come on, straight shooting insight for the long haul. From the boardroom to your hometown block. Get it honest, get it clear on PWC Truth Talk.
Hi everyone, this is Steve Shannon with the famous Chachi. We're here, we're going to be talking on PWC Truth Talk today. See, tonight we're continuing to our series on the 5 love languages, and we are now on the final one. Is this the last, this is the last chapter, right, Chachi?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Last part, okay, the final one, okay. We're going to do a little review. So far we've talked about 4 different ways people often give and receive love. The first talk we talked about was words of affirmation. And that is love expressed through encouraging words, kind words, appreciation, and speaking life into someone. The next we talked about was receiving gifts. That is not about how much something costs, it's about thoughtfulness. A gift can say, I was thinking of you, or you matter to me. Then we talked about quality time.
Yep.
That is love expressed through presence. It means giving someone your attention, listening, slowing down, and being with them in a meaningful way. Okay, the last time we talked about the acts of service. That is love shown through action. It is helping, serving, lifting a burden, and doing something that says, I care enough to show up. Tonight, we are talking about the love language number 5, called physical touch. Whoa, this is the good one. Now, this is one, this one can be very, very powerful, but it also needs to be handled with wisdom, respect, and a healthy boundaries. Physical touch is not just about romance. It can be a hug, a handshake, a hand on the shoulder, sitting close to someone you love, or simply being physically present in a caring way. Okay, when used in the right way, physical touch can communicate comfort, safety, connection, compassion, and love. So, Chachi,
Yes.
when you hear the word physical touch as love language, and what comes to your mind first, especially from the biblical and healthy relationship point of view?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear touch, physical touch, is kind of, it's kind of what's in all of these though. But the first, my first thing is presence. It's the presence, and it's also reassurance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of saying, I'm here with you. It's a way of saying you're safe with me. It's a way of saying you're not alone. And if we look at the Bible, we see that when Jesus heals people, he many times lays his hands on them. He touches them. He does more than just heal from like this distance. And I think touch just means something personal and intimate, and it gets the physical involved. We're spiritual beings with physical bodies, and so it kind of encompasses all of those things. So, and like I said, we see Jesus do that as well. We see when he heals that he touches them. So for me, it's just it's presence and reassurance. I would say that's what I would wrap it up as: presence and reassurance.
Okay. Now, no, the physical touch is one way people feel connected. For some people, a hug, a handshake, or a gentle touch on the shoulder can say more than a lot of words.
Right. Or even for instance, like especially with your loved one, even your children too, though, holding hands, sometimes just holding hands when you're walking, holding hands, praying together, holding hands, just, watching a movie together, so even just something as simple as holding hands.
Yeah, Don't it affect you a little bit, like physically, when you actually you're touching somebody, being close to somebody,
Yeah, I think we
Now
said
I'm
it. I
not
think
just talking about romance or getting in that kind of goofy stuff, but it's just that touch that just you know
yeah,
they feel you there. You just want to, like my wife. I used to love to comb her hair,
right,
you know, and she loved that,
right. Or
and
I
because
think
it made me feel connected to her. Okay, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. No, I think we had said once before too on what when we started this. Somewhere I remember talking about it though. They did these studies and they found they took like just animals. They took a cat and you could and no human touch. They fed it and everything, not touch it. And they took had another cat where they pet it at a certain time every day, and that cat did better health wise and lived longer. So I mean, touch is we're physical bodies and we were meant to have hug and hold hands and a shoulder, even like if it's even if it's like a bromance, right? Like how to like pump fists or give a high five. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like touch is important, and I think just in humanity, touch is very important.
that's right. Okay, okay. Jesus, he wasn't distant. So when we look at Jesus, he was not cold or distant.
No,
He came close to people. He
right.
touched the sick. He welcomed children. He showed compassion in a personal and meaningful way. Okay. What are some examples, scriptures, where Jesus used closeness, compassion, touch to show love and care?
Well, like I just said, like I think there was a few times where anytime he healed, he usually he didn't just step away. Like sometimes he would touch their eyes or touch their tongue, and there was different ways that he would do that. Or even the lady, let's even say the lady that she touched the hem of his garment. You know what I mean? So that's another touch. He was
Right.
always about being close. He touched the
Yeah.
the lepers. So he was always close enough to touch.
All right. That's good. So then we'll look at to see how about a healthy touch. Okay, what it can bring. So what I'm going to share is that sometimes people do not need a lecture. All right. Sometimes they need comfort. A hug from a right person at the right time can say, "You are not alone." We men, we want to solve problems.
Right.
Sometimes we just need to shut up and just give that physical touch, a hug or whatever.
Yeah, because a hug, some kind of touch, it can speak louder than words. It can translate the mood in the moment more than words can. And I think that's what emotions do. When we hug someone or we hold their hand or we give a gentle tap or like you said, brushing your wife's hair, something like that. Words can clutter. You understand? They
Yeah.
can clutter a moment. And
Yeah.
and touch can do what words can't do.
Hmm.
They can convey that emotion and that feeling much more than words can. So, yeah, touch is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Healthy touch.
it translates. I mean, it's reaffirming what you're trying to share. You know, if
Yeah,
you
or
just
or
talk
right.
without touch in there, um, it doesn't. You don't have. It doesn't. I think you lose some of your connections.
Well, especially the better you know someone, and especially like I know when I was younger, I was in like grade school, our teachers, when we did something good, they would hug us. I don't think a teacher's allowed to hug, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
especially for children too, children who really, like children feel and they still go on emotions a lot more than adults do because that's when we start to use more of our logic and we use more of our prefrontal cortex. But children that hasn't developed in them yet, so like emotion is big with them. That's why the right touch with kids is important as well. The hug at the right time, you know. So touch speaks a different language. It doesn't use
It
words;
is.
it uses emotion, sometimes that is what you need more than words.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. How can we be sensitive to people we're hurting?
how can we be sensitive to people who are hurting? By what?
Yeah,
By touch, you mean?
yeah. I mean, it's you
I
know,
mean, so there's so if you look at somebody hurting, a lot of times someone's hurting, you rub them on the back. You know what I'm saying? You rub them on the back. How you doing? You feel okay? You know what I'm saying? Holding their hands, rubbing their
yeah,
hand.
yeah.
There's different ways. I mean, so when people are hurting, I guess it all depends what kind of hurt. Like if they're, and it depends on the person, but I guess we're
Yeah.
saying like how does touch become involved? So sometimes it's just letting them lay their head on your shoulder.
Well, yeah, it doesn't, it's just like you were trying to say, it's a presence. You feel present in the moment where the people you get that connection. I guess it's getting that connection that's meaningful. Okay. Well, let's look at physical touch, which it require. Okay. This language of love it also requires wisdom. Not everyone is comfortable with physical touch. Some people have just hurts, trauma, no, have past hurts, trauma, or personal boundaries. Love does not force touch, love respects people. Okay? And how do we practice physical touch in a way that is loving, respectful, and honoring to others?
I think it's
Depends on the circumstances, right?
say that again.
Depends on the circumstances, where you're at.
Well, yeah, I think you
Yeah,
have to match the touch, with the context and the relationship. You see what I'm saying? Like in a healthy relationship with another person, you know
mhm,
what is appropriate for that moment.
yeah,
That could be like a firm handshake. It could be a comforting hug.
yeah,
Like,
right,
and you have to know it's all in the context of the moment and the context of the relationship. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
If it's your wife, of course, there's different boundaries there. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
You get more intimate with your wife. If it's not
yeah,
your wife, then you got to be respectful of those boundaries. And
yeah.
then there's also some things is it public place or is it a private place? Are you in a social setting with other people around or is it just you and your wife walking down the street? You know what I'm saying? So there's all those things that come into play.
Yeah,
But when you're in a healthy relationship with the other person, you know the right kind of
yeah, yeah.
you know the right balance to have when you in the right
Right.
touch when you're in the moment.
Well, you get, a strange woman, you just don't run up and give them a big hug.
You
That
shouldn't.
could get you knocked out.
I don't know about knocked out, could get you in jail.
Yeah, could get you in jail. But if you see somebody, maybe she was hurting, you noticed it, and you just say, "Hey, is there something I could do to
Right.
help you?" I mean, just being in that presence right there, could just as we talk, could that be like a form of touch? You know, just try. I'm trying to see if I can get this out right. But as we speak to somebody lovingly and encouraging, could that be a form of touch?
Well, I see. It's just funny how I mean, I think it's funny. So let me put it this way: when I'm talking with somebody, I'm always reading. I'm always kind of reading them, meaning like to see if do they feel nervous, how they feel right now. Is their body tense? You can kind of see, are their shoulders up? Are they down? Are they leaning in? And if I feel like they're being more, let's just say, welcoming and they're at ease. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll even just touch them on the shoulder, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes just that little touch on the shoulder as I'm talking, it kind of lets both of us know, like, okay, we're safe. You see what I'm saying? But now
Yeah,
if I see somebody, and some people don't like standing too close, and they kind of seem to be looking around a lot, not really looking at me, they're not
yeah,
smiling much. I don't even invade that place. I don't even want to touch them. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But I think most times that touch kind of like that human touch bonds us in a certain way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even if it's just like getting to know someone better at church for the first, like meeting someone at church, kind of shaking that hand. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Right.
human touch, it transfers a type of emotion that kind of like puts us at ease sometimes. But you have to read that because some people are not touchy at all, and they are very they
Yeah,
don't like that for whatever reason. And so you really have to like be able to know that. You really got to be you got to make sure they're comfortable.
that's right. Well, that's why back to, if somebody's like that, a comforting word or something like that could be, I just wonder if that's a form of touch, not, maybe physical,
Well,
but
see, right. I mean, I do think that's a form of touch. A comforting word is a form of touch, but I think what in the book right now, just what we're going through, people that take that as touch, let's say that would be people that like words of affirmation. See, me, words of
yeah.
affirmation are more of a touch than physical touch, right?
Okay.
But people who
Okay.
have physical touch, they are very close with the people that need like gifts, right? Because to them, words feel empty. You see, to people that like physical touch, you're here. I know you're here. I can feel the warmth of your hand. I can feel you rubbing my shoulder. That really just
Mhm.
speaks volumes to them. Where to me, I
Okay.
don't think words are very empty. Especially if they're well considered and thought out, and
Right.
someone tells me something. So
Yeah.
can words be touch? Yes, but I think the people that take them that way are the ones that
Okay.
have words of affirmation as their.
So we have family, all right, and then we have our church family. We have our personal family relationships there, our church family and relationships there, and new people that we meet.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's different boundaries in each of those areas, right? Our
Yep.
our families we want to hug, you know, and spend, hug and be closer and spend more time. Maybe at church we might hug with a person. You can tell if it's appropriate or not, or a handshake or that kind. Put a hand on the shoulder if you see somebody that's hurting. Just say, "Hey, but I'm here with you. And
Right.
is there anything I can do? Maybe I can pray with you right now, or
Right.
whatever it is." But you might put a hand on the shoulder or something. Then somebody who is new, you have to use boundaries a little bit more. Okay, can you see the progression here? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think yeah. I mean, there's the people that are you have to the people that are closer to you. You the boundaries of even just physical boundaries, right? Like there's personal space. So someone in a family, your personal space is a lot closer than a stranger, right? And then
Hmm.
someone at church that you know well, that personal space is a little bit closer. You know what I'm saying? Because you know the context better. So I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's common sense, but there's a lot of people that obviously don't have it, because they can
yeah,
definitely be invading people's space, and people don't like that either.
yeah. Well,
And touches
anything,
touches an intimate thing.
yeah. A lot of this book, I mean, we can get in there, but a lot of this book, I think we're talking, a lot about marriage and family. Okay. Because we want to because we want to have that love connection closer to our family, right? And it's saying here that physical touch in marriage and family. In marriage and family, a healthy physical touch can be very important. A hug, a holding hand, sitting close, kissing on the cheek can help someone feel loved, safe, and connected. So it's bringing that connection, isn't it? And feeling that safety, right?
Right.
In our family.
Feel
And
that
if
part.
you're not showing that, it causes distance
Right.
in the family struggles when you're not showing this healthy uh, this healthy touch.
Right.
If I'm in
Yes.
left field, let me know.
No, 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 you're right. I just think no, I think you're right. I don't think you're right. I know you're right. But what I'm saying is, this book is helpful in the fact that, first of all, it is more geared to your family and to your spouse
Right.
because these are the people that are closest to you that you influence the most and who influence you the most. And
Yeah.
then a lot of this is trying to show that what touchy like what this is trying to show is maybe you're not a touchy-feely person,
Yeah.
right? And so now you got to start and your wife is, or whatever, or the vice versa, or your kid is. Like I said, I never got a chance to go over, but they gave my son and my daughter too, she was there like this test to tell you to find out what your love language is. You know, his is quality time. And those questions were very cool. So the thing now was like, if your spouse or your kid has this gift, I call it gift, whatever it is, love language of being, touched, that means that they want hugs. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they need. And so if you're not a touchy feely
Yeah.
person, excuse me, it's going to be hard for you. Remember, it goes back to the whole thing, to the beginning of the book, where it said like doing these love languages are not going to come natural to you.
No.
And then you're going to try and it's not going to feel good. Like have you ever hugged somebody who doesn't like, who is not a touchy-feely person?
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
ever?
Yeah.
Huh?
There's something out there. I know a gal.
Okay. How was it when you hug them? What was that experience like? When you hug somebody that does not
Oh,
want hugs?
they'll tense up.
Right. Okay, exactly. So I have too. Right. So I have too. And I've asked them before, you like hugs? And they have told me before, like, I'm trying to get better at it. But you can see they tense up. And so what happens now to this person, let's just now imagine that person has a child who love language is hugs. They're going to have a hard time. And at first they do it, they're going to feel like the first 2 or 3 times they do it, they're going to come back to me and they're going to say, I don't think I should hug my kid anymore. I'll be like, why? Why don't you think so? Well, when I hug him, he's hugging me tight. I really don't feel good because I don't like hugs and I feel guilty now. And then what I'll have to tell them is say, listen, it's okay that you feel guilty because you're not used to hugs, but you have to be disciplined and keep practicing. And maybe after a few months, you'll get better at it. We
Mhm.
always want to give up too quick. That's my whole point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, whatever these love languages are, when you try them out, they're going to feel fake. They're going to feel like they don't fit, and you're going to want to give up because it's almost going to make you feel worse. You see?
Mhm.
Like, for instance, if your wife, her gift is quality time and yours isn't, you're gonna be like, man, I don't know, I can't spend time with my wife anymore. I'll be like, why? Why can't you? Well, I tried to have some quality time and it almost felt bad for her because I couldn't stay with it. I'd be like, that's okay. You got to keep practicing. Because at the beginning, this makes us feel uncomfortable, you see? And so these people that have this gift, they really want to be hugged. And so if you're not a hugger, you have to learn how to become a hugger. How do you do that? Little by little every day. Keep practicing.
Right. Right. Now you say your son he was a quality time guy.
Quality time guy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that's why these love languages if we could figure out what it took. And I knew what my wife's love language
But here's the thing though, too,
quality,
Steve.
huh?
Okay, but here's the thing. It's not just it's figuring it out, but also now it's execution.
That's right.
Right? See, if you know what it is and you can do it, great. But the thing what I'm trying to say is like if it is, just imagine you're somebody that doesn't like hugs and you find out that your spouse, it is that one. It's going to be hard for you. So the whole thing is, what I'm saying is they're going to have to like really take their time and practice it in to
Okay.
normalcy. You see?
Okay.
So your wife, you knew what your wife's was. What was your wife's love language?
It was quality time and I call it touchy feely.
Okay. So did you have any problem with those?
No, no, I didn't. No,
No. See, that's good.
I want to make, but I'm a words of affirmation guy. You know,
Yes. You're
that's
big
one of
time.
mine.
I knew you were words of affirmation when I met you. I knew you were words of affirmation as soon
Yeah,
as I met you.
yeah. Chachi, did I do it right? Hey, Chachi, love me, brother. Tell me I
I
did it
knew,
right.
I knew right away when you said, "How good of a person do you think I am?" I said, "I think you're a great person, man."
Yeah. Anyway. Well, we're
Uh,
getting here. We still got a little more time. That's okay. I got to know what it is. Sometimes physical touch is really about presence. It says,
yeah,
I'm here with you. When
that's what I think it is.
someone
Yeah.
is grieving, scared, or lonely, just being near them can matter. Doesn't mean you have to touch them, just being around. you know be
Right.
ready to help or pray or whatever it may be. Just they can feel it. It's that connection. I think this whole thing is getting that connection.
Exactly. That's right. The whole thing is connection. That's why I'm saying the whole thing is this presence. And all of these love languages are basically showing These love languages are basically how you
Yeah.
show your presence so they can feel it. Because that's what you want, our
Yeah.
presence. And Jesus, now to tie this into Jesus, Jesus, think about this. Jesus became incarnate. He became he's fully God, became fully human, so he could really be present with us.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's how that ties in. And Jesus always wanted its presence with us. Even his Holy Spirit is here, presence with us. Why does he want a church? Why does he want us together? Because he knows presence. Presence, as you said, it is connection.
Right.
Because if I'm with you, if I'm sitting with you, or if I'm not engaging with you as we do this podcast, I'm not present. But you can feel when I'm present because we're on the same
Mhm.
wavelength right now. You know, presence is key. Presence is
Yeah.
connection. What it
Yeah.
is. Presence is connection. And so these love languages is how we connect. This is love languages are how we manifest the presentation that they need. Like
Okay.
if I'm a person of words of affirmation, if you give me words of affirmation, I feel your presence, you know?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say to the guys, don't get butthurt over this, but guys is they just don't really pay attention. You know, they don't understand because maybe it was they had a rough life. Mom, maybe dad wasn't that present and stuff like that. And we tell it's like a football coach. You've been around a football coach, and that guy acts so tough and all that stuff. So when you think you got to coach the same way he coached.
Right.
Okay. And with family, because it is like, when you get married, you got her family and your family. Your family might have been more rougher, tougher, and stuff like that. Her family might have been more loving, giving stuff. And then you're getting together, and then you got to mesh that together.
Right.
So it's important for us to understand these love languages so we can make that connection, and maybe we could stay forget together forever. Okay. Because something's happening. We're losing connections out there. We got divorce rates at this out of this world because we don't spend time to understand these principles that we've been talking about.
Right. No, and I think a lot of it too is we don't even know what our own love languages are. So we have a hard
That's
you
right.
got to know what your own love languages too, you know?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what it was until I read the book and got in and started learning.
Right.
And
Yeah, it takes somebody to teach us, you know, anything you learn in life.
okay, here it's got to know here when physical touch is missing. It says some people grow up without much healthy affection. Others go through seasons where they feel alone. Untouched or disconnected can affect the heart deeply. What do you think about that, Charlie? Abichachi.
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
It says that some people grow up without much healthy affection. Okay. Others go through seasons where they feel alone, untouched, or disconnected. That can affect the heart deeply. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you say about someone who feels lonely or disconnected or starved for healthy affection?
You got to get connected, like we said. And how does
Yeah.
that happen? I
Yeah.
mean, and I mean, see, listen, I would hope that everyone can go to a church and feel connected. But first of all,
Yeah.
sometimes churches aren't even connected. And I think that's one thing most churches have to work on is a real kind of connection, a real kind of presence, not just, hi, how you doing? You know? And so a lot of times, how do you do that? Man, you really have to step out in faith. You have to step out in faith and learn to
Yeah.
trust somebody
Yeah.
else, even though that might hurt. And I think that's a lot of times what loneliness comes to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've never really had that issue of never having anyone or really being lonely, you know. But
Yeah. I, I just,
I think a lot of times I've seen people that are lonely, and
mhm.
what I've noticed, and this is just anecdotal, I don't know, this is anecdotal evidence. Lonely people have been lonely, I think, for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when they get in with other people, around other people, they almost are socially awkward, you see? And that kind of feeds into this loop where like the more socially awkward you are, like we said before, reading like reading signs when you're talking to somebody and knowing the boundaries. Don't just like you said, you don't just walk up to some lady at church you don't know and just give her this bear hug, you know?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
seems like lonely people don't understand that. And then so they act more awkward in public. And the more awkward you act in public, the less people want to like be around you, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I got a
I know
thought.
it's sad though.
I got this thought rattling around in mind. God is about love. Satan is about creating shame and stuff in your life. If you don't have that love coming to you, it leaves an opening for Satan to put those what you go half truths in your mind. Oh, I'm not worthy. Uh, he don't care.
Yeah.
Uh, so that stuff gets in and it starts putting a wedge in if we don't go out and show these love languages that they need. What do you think?
So I don't think it's false, but here's again, I mean, this is where I go to. It's so I believe Satan is real, and I believe that he can, disrupt and he can cause confusion. That's what he does, But I think a lot of part is we also have just our broken selves. We have sin in our lives, and we're broken. And such things as anxiety and not knowing how to deal with anxiety makes us function in ways that don't look good.
Right.
Not just don't look good, they're not healthy for us. So like I said before, let's just pretend you're a lonely person. And see, there are seasons of loneliness, as it says. Sometimes a season of loneliness could be somebody went through divorce, now they're alone. But sometimes a season of loneliness is not a bad thing. I'm talking more about people who have been alone like a lot of their lives, even as children. And like I said, most of the time, these people seem to be socially awkward, But see, what happens now is when we try to step out in faith, anxiety comes up because anytime we do something we're not used to or we do something we're afraid of, our anxiety goes up. And then when our anxiety goes up, all of the what if questions come up, right? So then you build this anxiety. I don't want to talk. Yeah, you got to talk. You got to say hi to that person at church. If I say hi, what if I say this? What if they say that? What if this? And then your anxiety gets so high you don't respond. Or finally, you go to talk and your anxiety is so high you get
Yeah.
all weird again. What you have to learn to do is you have to learn not to push the anxiety away. You have to learn not to try to never be anxious. You have to tell yourself it's going to keep being weird until I get used to it. So you
Mhm.
have to force yourself. So you'd be like, okay, you go and you'd be like, you said hi, but you said hi the wrong way. You gave that lady a hug you should have never hugged. But then you say, okay, it's a little bit anxious. I could be myself. I'll get better. I'll try again next week. And the more you try, the more now confidence starts going, the more you see that God is working in your life.
Right.
So there can be Satan, but there are also a lot of times just our broken, sinful natures, such as anxiety and
Right.
fear. Those things can rule us.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was kind of a long way
let's
around the barn.
let's look at some practical ways for physical touch can be simple, appropriate, and meaningful. Examples could include a hug when appropriate, handshake, which we've been talking about, a pat on the back, holding hand in marriage, sitting close with family, putting an arm around someone who is grieving if they are comfortable, and that's if they are comfortable with it, praying with somebody in a respectful way. Okay. So there are some practical ways we can look at. We're getting at the closing time.
I think probably if you put somebody in a headlock, that's not appropriate.
No. We ain't looking for that's wrestling.
That's wrestling.
Yeah, it's wrestling. Yeah, we don't want to wrestle. We want to love. Okay, we're going to cut. Here's our final chance. As we close this series of five love languages, I think the big lesson is this: love pays attention. Love learns what matters to someone else. Love does not just love people the way we prefer. Love learns how to love them in the way they can receive. Okay?
Yeah.
And physical touch reminds us that love is not only spoken, it can also be felt through comfort, closeness, presence, and care. But real love, always respectful.
That's right.
Real love is patient. Real love honors boundaries. Real love makes people feel safe, not pressured. And when we love people with the heart of Christ, we learn to speak love in ways that help them feel seen, valued, and cared for. All right. Any other things you want to say, Chachi?
I just want to say, I want to wrap this series up by saying it was a good series. I want to wrap it up by saying there's some basics. The thing is, find out what your love language is and find out what your spouse's love language is.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how hard it is if it's hard for you, if it's easy for you to act on that love language that your spouse has, do it. If it's hard, don't give up. Practice it into normalcy. And we need to learn how to make sure, as you said before, that we're connected. And one way of connection is through our love languages. That's how we do it. And that just means presence. The other person wants to know that we're present. And if we speak their love language, that shows them that we are present.
That's right.
That's it.
Very good. Okay, Chachi, we're at the end of the hour. Just want to let everybody know you can watch this on YouTube at PWC Truth Talk. We also have it on the website. You can go into the sermon section and pull these up. And the website is hopepwc.org. Okay?
Yeah. And stay tuned for our next series. Our series is coming up. We're not going to tell them what it is yet, but we have a new series coming.
Yeah. We've been talking about one. I might even have two coming up, buddy.
Man.
I've been working on it. It has some amazing stuff that come to mind.
We'll have to whistle you now.
But we won't get carried away. But hey, y'all, there's Chachi. I'm Steve. We love you. We give you a big hug. And see you next time.
Thanks for riding with Chachi. Rolling out with Steve today. PWC Truth Talk family. You made our day. Thanks for joining Truth Talk. Thanks for sharing your time. Chachi and Steve say keep it real. See you next time on the line.